Today, if you go to YouTube and you look for Misha Halls, you'll see almost every other creator has made a video. And I'll let you in a kind of an insider secret. For 90 or 95% of those videos, we've never reached out to that influencer. We've not paid. It's all organic.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a brand new episode of Kofluence Unplugged. Hi, I'm your host Aritra. Now, whether you're a brand marketer interested in influencer marketing or a social media content creator wanting to get more insights about how influencer campaigns usually work, what are the inner workings of brands like, trust me, this episode is for you. So stay tuned. Now, today we have a very special guest amongst us. She is a seasoned social media and digital marketing professional with over a decade worth of experience with some of the biggest retail and e-commerce platforms out there. Please join me in welcoming Neha. Hi Neha.
Hi Ritra, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Welcome and pleasure is all ours. So, before we begin, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you had done in your journey, professional journey so far.
So, I'm Neha. As far as my education is concerned, I have a bachelor's and master's in journalism and mass communication. Then I went on to doing very distinct and different things which ultimately led me to where I am today. So I started my career with the Commonwealth Games in 2009. That was the time I just finished my master's and I got an opportunity to work with the Commonwealth Games, although it was not related to journalism, but it was a writing job. I was supposed to write for the anti-doping department and I was like, why not? It's the first time India has got a mega sporting event and I should make the most of it. I did that for a year, then I went on to join a digital content boutique agency where I used to write for a Swedish defense client. It's called Saab. So I used to write on aircrafts, missiles, so right from writing on anti-doping to missiles, I did that. I did that for close to 4 years. I used to lead the whole Asia Pacific charter. I used to do a lot of website management, servicing, content management, and obviously writing. Then after spending close to 4.5 years there, I realized I've done a lot of B2B marketing. Now is the time when I go ahead and do a lot of B2C marketing and directly talk to consumers, because ads specifically have always interested me a lot. Doing, seeing great work, great stuff on social media, I was like, okay, let's do that. That's when I joined an agency in 2015. It's called Isobar. It's a part of the Dentsu Aegis network. There I went on to lead the servicing for Myntra. So we used to work for all the private labels, like all the in-house brands that Myntra has, which is Roadster, Cook and Peach, Anook. There was this new brand that we launched with Deepika Padukone, which is called All About You from Deepika Padukone, along with Sterling Holidays and Amante. I did that for close to 2 years and then I was like, okay, enough of the agency experience. I've done 6 years now, let's move to the brand side. And because of the excitement and the interest that I developed while working for Myntra and Amante, I thought, okay, maybe fashion and lifestyle is the place where I would want to be. So I joined Reliance Retail, Trends to be specific, they're an offline fashion player. I did whole digital, social, influencer marketing for them. I used to work very closely with the category and the design folks to understand what are the trends, then do the shoots, place it on social media, etc. Went on to Landmark Group, Max Fashion, again in a similar role, but I also had e-com comms under me. Then after 2020, I realized, okay, I've now done a lot of fashion and lifestyle. Let's, kind of diverse the industry that I've been working with. So, and shared mobility was a big thing, and I'm talking pre-COVID world, right? So I joined Zoomcar. I was there for a year. It just so happened that in Zoomcar there was a lot of COVID restrictions that kind of led to, some Zoomcar losing some customers, some impending refunds, etc. So Zoomcar was a short stint, but I did bring back 75% customers through a lot of social media and crisis communication strategies. Then again, I think fate had it. I again went on to join an e-com fashion player, which is Meesho, where I was leading the whole social influencer and content marketing charter. Fortunately, I was a part of the founding brand marketing team when we pivoted to a D2C platform in 2021. Did some of the spectacular work like grew social media from 200k followers. I still remember when I joined, we were at around 200k on Instagram to a 2.3 million in a year. And till today, Meta says it's one of the fastest and the most engaged growth story that any brand has ever seen on Meta, let alone e-com or any other industry. Went on to scale the influencer charter. Influencer mostly does two things here at Meesho. One is obviously the brand marketing. So whenever there's a brand campaign, we bring in influencers to take that narrative forward in a fun, social first way. And second is building growth, wherein we acquire customers, do new installs through influencers, which is mostly done on YouTube because the platform is much suited for link clicks and you can track as to where the movement is happening. I think because of influencer marketing, we kind of created a subculture on YouTube. Today, if you go to YouTube and you look for Meesho hauls, you'll see almost every other creator has made a video. And I'll let you in a kind of an insider secret. For 90 or 95% of those videos, we've never reached out to that influencer, we've not paid it. It's all organic because they started seeing a lot of traction for Meesho hauls. They started seeing that while creators are creating a lot of content, also the audience is consuming a lot of content on Meesho hauls. And we've also seen that if a creator makes a video on any other topic versus Meesho hauls, their engagement, their views almost kind of doubles up. So it's a win-win, I think, for both of us, and it's a culture or a sub cult kind that we've created on YouTube, which is a good thing. So yeah, this is what my journey has been in the last 13 and a half years across agencies, brands, building a lot of digital first brands with special focus on obviously social media, influencer and content marketing, because I think that's where most of the users today are and at least will continue to be so. So yeah.
Wow. That's quite a journey.
It's too
I
long
would
a
say,
journey.
No, it's exciting, and I think it's very motivational also for a lot of young marketers out there, like myself. So I think with regard to influencer marketing, I think our viewers would be very interested in something called social commerce. So that I think has been a buzzword for quite some time now. But if you had to explain social commerce, what it is in very simple layman language, how would you explain?
Social commerce is simply commerce or any transaction that happens on social media, and it can either be through DMs or your Instagram shops or through LinkedIn bios. Whatever transactions happen with a brand, whether it's a big brand or a small boutique brand, and the user, it's called social commerce in a way. And the platforms can be Facebook, Instagram. There are some people who also take that conversation forward on WhatsApp. So whatever happens in the realm of social media, I am including WhatsApp to that as well, is essentially social commerce.
Yeah, right. So social commerce, as you mentioned, it's basically your selling of products through social media, and how do you think influencers have come into the picture with, and how they are leveraging social commerce now, or how brands are building their growth story through influencers through social commerce?
So see, typically what used to happen was, especially with fashion, there are 3 or 4 season launches that you do, right? So you'll have a summer, you'll have a spring or winter collection, and that's where we would use influencers. They'll come in, they'll say, okay, these are the top 5 pieces from XYZ brand summer collection. This is how I'm styling them. One thing that we've seen for a very long time, in the comment section, mostly people will ask PP, which is price please, or where did you buy it from, can you share the link? So they always wanted to kind of emanate that influencer style, and those conversations would come in. Just that the intention of doing that was to build brand awareness, or to say that we've launched a new collection and these are the top styles, and then you kind of went to the store and made that purchase, or you kind of, if you got the link, you kind of went to the website and do that. Now with the way the platforms are building, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, the story links, there's so many clickable services that if you like something, you click it there and then and you kind of buy it. Right. And also, as we all know, fashion, beauty has increasingly become an impulse buy in today's generation, right? Like we millennials and Gen Z, we don't wait for an occasion to buy it. If I like something, I'm just going to buy it and figure as to wherever I want to buy it. So those influencers have come in very handy to kind of fasten that impulse process, and second, make the frequency much more higher. As frequently as I see someone wearing something which is very nice, something in line with my aesthetic sense, I'll just go ahead and buy that.
So Neha, I think a lot of our content creators who are listening to this episode would like to get some insight on what are the common criteria that brands look for when shortlisting influencers. I mean, what are those few things that act as the first checklist when it comes to influencer selection?
Sure. So I think there are essentially three things that we evaluate any creator on, right? One, obviously, is the campaign or the category fit. So for example, if I'm doing a campaign on beauty, then obviously I'll be looking at beauty creators. If it's on home and kitchen, I'll look at that. So that's one. The second is the performance metrics or the evaluation metrics, which is the number of followers, cost per follower, total engagement, average engagement on the last 5 to 6 pieces of content. So we know that it's a consistent engagement and not an anomaly of sorts which has happened. Then some more metrics like a CPV or a CPE which kind of comes in. And the third is a brand fit. So for example, although I mentioned it third, but I think that's the most important, that whether this creator resonates with the brand or not. So for example, we at Meesho, we are a tier 2, tier 3 player. We mostly cater to a lot of people who speak either in Hindi or their regional languages, right? So when looking at a creator, even if he or she matches the first and the second criteria, but let's say he creates content only in English, or he is an out-and-out metro person and maybe works with a lot of luxurious brands or top-end brands, then it's kind of a no for me, because I'm alienating the consumers if I kind of start working with such creators for a brand like Meesho. Also there, the authenticity, credibility and transparency kind of gets compromised, because if you see an influencer wearing, let's say, the top-end brands on day one or in her day-to-day life, and suddenly she starts coming and talking about Meesho where the average selling price of garments maybe starts at 200, 300 rupees, you know it for a fact that she does not use it in her real life and she's just doing it for money. So I think these are three very, very important factors that we look at when we are evaluating creators for any of our campaigns.
Talking about Meesho, how much of a role do micro and nano influencers play into your influencer mix, you would say?
So at Meesho, we do two things when it comes to influencer marketing. One, as I said, brand awareness. Whenever there's a brand campaign, we want to take that narrative forward. There we mostly use mix of mega and macro, because we want to use their media equity or media presence to take that message forward in a social first format. But when it comes to growth, which is the second thing that influencers drive for us at Meesho, which is a lot of installs, first order acquisitions, transactions, that's where a lot of micro and nano influencers come in, because they bring that authenticity, they bring that girl next door vibe. If a person sees a certain influencer of a stature which has like 50k to 100k followers and using Meesho products, there's more authenticity, and you know that yes, he or she actually uses it and it's just not a transactional journey. So, and also we do a lot of regional content, because a lot of our priority markets are markets in the south or markets in the west. That's where we use a lot of regional creators who do a lot of Meesho hauls, those long form 7-8 minute videos. And they have their own creative sensibilities. They have very different creative expressions, which is liked by consumers, and that's why we use these micro and nano. And also, when the larger campaigns are happening, micro and nano influencers are mostly used as media amplifiers or as growth drivers when it comes to driving acquisition, sales, transactions, etc.
So we talked a little bit about social commerce, Neha. I think now with the presence of these attribution links and how social commerce has beautifully integrated it, do you think it's gotten better at ROI mapping and actually, evaluating the success of influencer campaigns, or how do you think that is working out?
I think we've started the journey and we are taking the right steps, but I still feel because the way the platforms are built, it's still not 100% ROI mapping. And I'll tell you why. See, two top creator platforms in India are YouTube, obviously shorts and long form included, and then Instagram, right? Facebook, not so much because your millennials and Gen Z is not there, and also not a lot of creators make Facebook first content. So it's Instagram and YouTube. YouTube has a lot of link clicks. You can have link in your comments. You can have links in your description, which obviously then can be tracked back to the YouTube parameters, and you can track it. Instagram, however, while there is a Facebook shop which is coming in, but that'll kind of roll out slowly, and it'll take some time before it's completely adopted. There are only two clickable surfaces. One is a swipe up story link, which obviously self-destructs after 24 hours, and the second is link in bio. But see, the problem with link in bio is on an average you see a CTR of around 0.2 to 0.5% because it's kind of I would say a broken journey for a user. If I'm on the reel feed and I'm constantly scrolling reels, if an influencer comes and says link in bio, it's very highly unlikely that I'll go click on that and then kind of go on that link. And therefore I think Instagram still need to up that game. Obviously I've seen some news etc that Instagram has a lot of attributable features that are there live in the US and all, and they will be rolled to India soon. So once that happens, I think that attribution will become a big thing. The other way to attribute obviously is that then you start giving customized coupon codes to all the influencers, and whoever uses it on your app while checking out, then you know that has come from that influencer. But again, I think one surface which kind of brings all of that together is still missing. And increasing the brands have started asking creators as well as the platforms for it. So I'm sure sooner or later those solutions will kind of come in.
So Neha, if I had to ask you, what are the absolute no-nos when it comes to influencer marketing, both from the brand marketer's perspective and from the creators? What would you say?
So from a brand marketing perspective, I would say we brand marketers tend to just want everything in a certain shape and form and be communicated almost verbatim. And therefore, we kind of take the creative expression out of that influencer, right? I still heard a lot of brands say, let's give all these influencers a creative and let them post that. I would say stay away from it. People follow influencers because of the authenticity, credibility that they bring, and also their creative expression. If you kind of take that away, you are just using influencers as media amplifiers, which is not a very prudent media choice to make. You might as well run it as an ad and you'll get better CPMs and CPVs and better ROIs. So that's the first absolute no-no. Second, don't be in this, kind of a competition, if I can call it, that if my competitor has used a certain influencer, now I will use that same influencer again, because then there's no distinction, right? And if your product is not very heavily branded, which a lot of us horizontal players don't have, if you also start using the same set of creators, then in the minds of your users, they can't distinct a brand A from brand B. And the third, I think, is, and which I see missing, and which I think is a no, do not go out and start doing an influencer marketing campaign without any messaging or an objective in mind. Like, let's not say, and it just so happened that I was there at the jury of a very reputed influencer marketing awards, and I was going through a lot of case studies. There's a question as to what were your success metrics. And I was alarmed when I saw some great brands writing that we just started the campaign, we didn't have any success metrics, and whatever came was, a learning for us. You can't do that. Like, have some industry benchmarks. Maybe it's the first campaign for you, I understand. But you can always get industry benchmarks from the partners like Kofluence or other agency partners. Have those and then work towards it. It's okay even if you don't land anywhere, even if you're, 50% behind targets, but at least you know if you've taken the right direction or not. Don't just spray and pray. Influencer marketing is not, or any sort of marketing is not meant for that. So that's from a brand's perspective. And from an influencer perspective, I think A complete no-no is don't just send a script or send a creative idea without understanding the brand. Like I've seen a lot of first level things that come in, and when you read it, you can see it right through that the creator has not spent even half an hour to understand the brand. That kind of makes the confidence level very shaky, and you know that this creator is not invested in his or her work. That's a problem. Second, don't try and again follow whatever everyone else is doing. Just have your own style and kind of take that forward. So I think that's pretty much for creators. Third, and I think I have huge respect for such creators who will come back and say a no to you because they don't resonate with you, and I think that's fair. And that's how you will build your loyal following over a period of time. So I think don't just send a script for the sake of it without understanding the brand. Don't take a brand up if you don't resonate or you would really not use it in your personal life. And if you've tested it on your relatives, then just be very upfront and honest and say that. And those are the don'ts, I think, for creators.
Yeah, I think treating your feed as a conveyor belt of sponsored posts never works out well in the long run, and it does not help you build that connect with your audiences. So very rightly said. So I think tech has been a big advancement in the influencer marketing field. There are a lot of platforms that are currently evolving. So what are your thoughts about that, and how do you think platforms can help brand marketers with their influencer marketing efforts?
I think a lot of platforms are there and they kind of try and ease the process of especially brand marketers who are trying to do influencer marketing, because I feel a lot of my friends from the fraternity will agree that influencer marketing is a very, very operationally heavy charter, right? Right from the selection of the creators to reaching out to them, getting their willingness, then looking at their scripts, making tweaks, and obviously I'm not even including the product logistics. If at all you have to courier the products to them, seeing the final output, then kind of publishing it, metrics. It's a whole lot of process, right? So I think platforms today are there which kind of help just with the selection. Like, okay, they'll give me a list. If I say I want fashion influencers in these top 5 cities, minimum following, that will come to me. And then I can select. After that, even the brief can be sent. But I think then comes the manual intervention that you kind of need to check the scripts on mails or WhatsApp, etc., and then give feedback. If that can also be built in, that is something which will be great. The second, I think, as I said, I don't want to rely on those manual screenshots of the metrics or the performance of that creative, and whenever that creator is available to make that, I would want it real time. So if a platform kind of builds that for me, great. Third is the ROI on other conversion metrics. If at all, obviously there are UTMs, if at all I'm getting sales, then tell me there and then so that I can kind of with more confidence go and tell internally that this is kind of performing better and kind of scale that. So selection is kind of being sorted with the platforms as of today, but the second and the third is, I think, is where the platforms need to build up and kind of come up. And a lot of, and I'm sure maybe I'm saying it on behalf of the creators, but a lot of platforms today are made from the convenience of brand marketers perspective and not very well conducive for the creators as well. So if there can be something which can be co-created both with the brand marketers as well as the creators, I think that's where we'll have a win-win for everyone, where even the creators are very comfortable operating that and they know what a brand marketer is kind of searching for, and that kind of bridges the gap.
So would you say you'd recommend these influencer marketing platforms like Kofluence to other marketers out there?
I would certainly recommend that, especially for the selection, the first piece, which is like, getting a very big list to start with, and then you can obviously filter it out, because otherwise it's a very long, tedious manual process. And we mostly know, especially in startup systems, you almost have to take campaigns live immediately. So yes, that's a great thing. And also, I think Kofluence, when I have used it, it also gives more details on the demographics of the influencers, like the top I think 10 to 15 cities. So I know apart from the metros, if it's in the same set of the priority markets where my consumers are. So I think these two are great features, and as I said, I mean, if I can get more visibility on metrics and real-time data, then it almost makes for a holistic platform, so to say.
So, how has been your journey so far with Kofluence? If I have to sum it up.
So I think I've had a great working experience with Kofluence, especially in terms of the way the team understands the brief and their proactiveness. I mean, they're also very, very clear on what do you want, because obviously they all come from the whole background of where brands are coming from, how influencers operate, and they have a very clear understanding of both the sides, and it's not like, very heavily tilted towards one. And the platform kind of just eased it out for me, and especially when we work with YouTube creators on scale, and I'm sure you've seen what we do on YouTube with Misho. There are 600, 700 videos that we do in a month. So we need, a platform which is very correct, out there, gives us all the data points that we want, and just aid us make those decisions very, very fast. And I think Kofluence kind of does a very great job in that.
So, Neha, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for your valuable insights. You have given us a lot of things to think about, and I'm sure our audiences also will come out of this episode with a few valuable insights. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully you had a good time as well.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad I could have this conversation, and I hope the experiences that I shared and the insights are helpful for everyone who's watching this, and we can make influencer marketing and the charter as on the whole as something which is looked at from an efficient ROI perspective, and not something which is top of the funnel, and therefore a lot of brands are kind of hesitating to move towards that. So yeah, that was the intention, and I hope I've done justice to it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Now, before we say goodbye, let's hear it from you guys. Drop your question, any thoughts you might have had in the comment section below. Do subscribe to our channel, that's required. And turn on your notification bell for future updates. Trust me, we have a lot of nice episodes for you in the pipeline, so you don't want to miss out. Until then, stay happy, stay kind, and keep Kofluencing.